My sister asked me to hem a couple of pairs of jeans for her. I already cut, folded, and pressed these ones, getting them ready to sew, before I remembered, oh yeah, I am trying to record more of my sewing projects. This one I'm going to be attempting a Eurohem, where instead of cutting it away from the actual new hemline and folding that and sewing that down, what you do is you cut it at the length you're going to be hemming it to, and then you use the original hem as a binding around that, so that it's basically it preserves the crease and slight distressing that jeans have around their hems. So let's see how that turns out. She folded both pairs of jeans to where she wanted them hemmed, so I pressed that so I have a nice crease to act as my cutting line. I'm not going to video the cutting process because I need both hands for that. The hems are slightly wider than the cuffs, so I'm going to need to also stitch both of those in. But for now, seam ripping time. It's a chain stitch, so once you get it started, it comes undone in this really satisfying way. You can just pull the whole thing, at least until you get caught by the seam allowance. Why is this so satisfying? This is what the jean hem looks like when it's been all unfolded. I don't actually have my tripod set up such that I would be able to record the actual sewing, so I'm going to check in with you guys once the hem is fully attached. So the jeans are hemmed. The Euro hem took a lot longer than I was expecting it to do, but in retrospect I really should have figured that out, because you do have to do 2 lines of stitching in order to get it on properly, and also I did not properly trim the bulk of the seam allowance the first time, so that created some problems and I had to go back and undo it. Also, I took a while to get the side seams properly lined up on the cuff and the main part of the trouser. The folded hem took much less time, was the second one I did, so I remembered to trim the bulk from the seam allowance on the inside the first time, rather than having to go back and do it after my thread snapped. Overall, there's not really much of a visible difference from the outside other than the little pale line at the bottom of the cuff for the Euro hem. So, lots of extra work, not necessarily a prettier look, so I may or may not make a habit of this in the future, but It is a thing that I now know for sure that I can do. Pepper is giving them the seal of approval. Based on where she's sitting, Pepper prefers the Eurohem.